All right, so here we have the Joe Bonamassa 2024 Epiphone 55 Les Paul stereo. So it's a signature model by Joe Bonamassa. It has P90s for one of the first times, if not the first time. And it is a good guitar. But it is almost $900 delivered to your house, right? It's $849 plus, tax, shipping, all that stuff. So it's a $1,000 guitar almost. And it does have a decent sound, especially when you bring it into like some fuzz tone. I mean, the neck sounds good. Bridge sounds nice and bright. So this one tends to get kind of quiet. Oh, that's right. Oh, I have it turned down. But deep down, it brought up a conversation. For the price of the modern Epiphones that are coming out right this minute, what else can you get that's a Gibson in the approximate price range? And with that, we have today's video. So, of course, playing sample just now, all through the different positions. But now, let's look at something you can find used for about the same price. So here we have a Les Paul Tribute Raven. This was a Guitar Center exclusive, right? They were limited for 21, 22 models. I think it was actually supposed to be a 22 model, but they were started being produced in 2021. They're more akin to a Les Paul Special. They're not really like the Tribute. We'll get to a Tribute in a moment. But this one right here, you can find these for less than $1,000 used at Guitar Center. So this guitar is absolutely inside of $1,000. It's got a cool aesthetic to it. It does have a rich light fretboard, which some people do or don't like. It's it's a taste, right? But it's got cool aesthetics with the smoked out fret markers. The side markers are bright white, so they aren't easy to see even like on stage at night when it's in the dark. So you can easily find it, and it plays amazing, right? So these pickups are a little bit hotter though. 496R, 500T. So they are a little hotter than the P90s, but, well, actually that's not saying it correctly. They are a lot hotter than the P90s. at the end of the day, this guitar is an American-made Gibson option that you can pick up used for the exact same price as sticker price as what a Epiphone Joe Bonamassa signature is at $849. So, like I say, this is step one. Les Paul Special frequently comes with P90s even in some models. This particular one is called a Tribute Raven. I'm going to go to the Tribute next, and you'll see why I say this is not a Tribute. But the bottom line is, these can be picked up for $1,000 or less pretty much everywhere. You can find them at pawn shops for even less than that because they don't know what they are. On to the next one. All right, so now this is a Tribute. This is an actual Tribute, not the Tribute Raven. You'll notice it has a carved top to it, not a flat. So it really is a significantly, it's not a significant step up per se, because it's very much on par with the specials. But it doesn't have any binding. It doesn't have a binding on the neck, but it does have 490R and 490T pickup set. And they're a little smoother than like the pickup set that's in, like the 490R is the same as what's in like a custom or some of the studio models throughout the years. But the 490T is not quite as hot as the 490, what do they call them, 498s, 498 in the custom and the studio. Now these guitars came in several iterations. There's a Tribute 50s, a Tribute 60s, there's a Tribute HP. The Tribute over its lifespan came in several different variations, and each one of them did something just a little bit different. Nothing that was going to be revolutionary. Nothing that was going to make you go, oh my God, I gotta have this, unless you were looking for that exact set of things. Now, this one is kind of an anomaly. They quit making these in 23, but this has a 24 serial date, and it is listed as a Gibson mod guitar. So it is kind of an anomaly in a series of guitars. It does still, as we found out, have the 490R, 490T pickup set. Has everything else that you think of as a normal for Gibson Les Paul Tribute. This particular one feels really great. Neck's a little bit slimmer than what you see on some of the specials, and especially on the juniors, which, well, like I say, we'll get to a junior later. But it's a little bit thinner, more like that. This particular one is, I believe, a maple neck, though there are some mahogany versions of these guitars. And with that in mind, they are great guitars. They sound good, they play good. Take the fuzz off. I like these guitars. I think they're great. I think the tributes and the specials are a good way to get into the Gibson and find one that fits your, fits your deal. Find something that fits your way. But it also gives you a Gibson USA product, which, again, compared to the Epiphone, no scarf joints. So, you get an American-made product. I'm not going to say it's a better guitar, because I think it is a better guitar, but that's subjective. Some people think differently. So, you get a single-piece neck, you get a solid body. Tributes, like I say, they're good guitars. And they're inexpensive, and they're easy to play, and they are comfortable. You're not going to get binding, but it's much like the studio. It's everything you need and nothing you don't. So now, let's go a little differently. All right, so now we're at a junior. And juniors generally have a P90, one P90. Occasionally, these are like a special, but they have one pickup on. And some people like that, some people don't. I personally never thought I was going to be a fan of one until I got this one. And then suddenly it was like, oh, I see now. So they do have a certain allure to them, and I like it. I think it's probably, I think that it's an acquired taste. It will make you be a better guitar player. Frequently, they don't have these tuners. This one in particular one is a mod shop guitar, but it doesn't have anything other than aesthetics that really sets it apart from a normal run-of-the-mill junior. You can buy one of these juniors for $700-800 on a regular basis. No special headstock emblazoned thing. They do get the Les Paul thing, and this one has the Les Paul Junior. Some of them don't have the ones that say Les Paul Junior. But overall, these guitars are a great way to get into a guitar that is a Gibson USA product for a really great price. And like I've said multiple times, it forces you to play around with the tone and with the volume to get a different sound because you don't have that second pickup. So it starts off at a really and if you dial that tone back, bring the volume down to about 9. Down the tones at 7. It takes it down a notch, and that gives it some different characteristics. Like I said, I have begun to really like the way a lot of these guitars sound with fuzz on them, because I think it gives them a little more definition. But again, slab body, so it is just basically like a special with a single pickup instead of double pickups. That's kind of what distinguishes a junior from a special. Neck is a little thicker. I don't know if that's specific to just the junior or if that's just this particular junior, but it does feel really good. This one has a lacquered neck. I know they made some that did not have a lacquered neck, but even the fretboard and everything is lacquered on this one. So it is a really smooth feeling guitar, and in the long run it's probably going to get some really neat checking patterns on it because of the way the guitar plays and just it is in general. I need to condition the fretboard on this one, and so it is lighter on the top, but it is a rosewood, and it is a very, very nice. And that's something else is all these guitars that are on the Gibson lineup, generally speaking, they're going to be some form of maple, ebony, rich light, rosewood. There's going to be some version of it that's there. Not almost none of them use anything like Palfaro or Laurel fretboards. Is that a bad thing? No, not really. Laurel's just fine. But if you're looking for a little more high-end appointment, rosewood and rich light, even rich light's considered above Laurel and like Palfaro. Anyway, on to the next one. All right, so this is the last Les Paul that is in this comparison, because there's one other guitar I want to talk about that is an option in this price range. But this one is a studio. And this particular one has been given the mod shop treatment. So sonically, it's Bushbucker 1, Bushbucker 2 pickups. With that in mind, these guitars were produced and in several different forms for a very long time, like 30 plus years, right? So these guitars have all kinds of different iterations. Some of them have 490R, 498T, just like the custom. Some of them had some, what was it? It was not the T-types. It was some other pickup that was before that. So they had all kinds of different variants, but they all shared basically one thing, and that is, well, okay, except for the studio standards. That was a little different. And then the custom studios or something like that was there for a hot minute. But most of them share carved top, no binding, and now there's a version that has binding on the actual fretboard, but most of the ones from the past did not have binding on the fretboard. They almost never have a really brilliant headstock Gibson logo. Some of them did come with, because like I said, there's so many different variants, that some of them did come with these with like a mother of pearl or acrylic Gibson logo. Now, the lesser models that are from more recent, or actually from probably about the early 2000s, in late 2000 teens, they started offering them with coil split options. This is not one of those. Even though it's from that generation, this has been hand wired with the Bushbucker 1, Bushbucker 2 set. So overall, they are incredibly comfortable, slim taper necks. They all have side markers. This one's been glazed over because of the satin amber modified color of it. These guitars in general are just good. They're frequently lighter than the standards, lighter than the classics even, though some of them got a little chunky. So overall though, they're comfortable, they sound good, and they just have a easy play to them. because they were made for so long, you can find them for less than $1,000 modified like this. Some of them will be modified in a way you don't like. Some of them will be modified in a way that everyone loves. People have done everything from put active EMGs in them to putting P90s in them. They have got a ton of different options that these guitars have come with. And like I say, they've come in studio version, they've come in high performance versions, they've come in studio standards, they've come in studio custom studios or something like that. I mean, there's a little bit of everything for everybody. So, but overall, these guitars on the used market can frequently be found for $8.99, $7.99, $9.99. Somebody out there has got one that's probably going to be a $2,500 guitar because they value it. They feel good, they play nice, and they're a good way to get into a Gibson USA product. And I think they make a compelling argument for a guitar that you can buy for cheap, modify the heck out of, and then not be afraid to get on stage with. So these guitars, pretty cool if you're looking for something to use as a go-to guitar. And the best part is you can get them for a price that you can make your own. Surprise! It's the last Les Paul model. Technically speaking, the SG, while not an actual Les Paul model anymore, started life off as the Les Paul. After a few years of Gibson making the original Les Paul design, which we now know and love as the Les Paul, this guitar was introduced as the Les Paul because they weren't really selling very well in the other form. This guitar was lighter. It gave a better cutaway availability up high, and it was probably cheaper to make. They do have a little less shelf on them. They are easier to make because you can run everything into one setup and don't have to drill in from the side. Though there have been side-mounted pickup, auxiliary jacks, output jacks. This particular one sports P90s, and you can get these for incredibly cheap. I have seen these on Reverb for like $6.99. So at $700, this is actually less expensive, and it's a Gibson USA model versus an Epiphone. This particular one is tuned to drop D because I just enjoy drop D tuning. So anyway, bottom line, these guitars are incredibly neck heavy. Even just when I was tuning it just now, it tries to neck dive. So they are a little bit. You're going to be holding this up a little bit more than you would a Les Paul. But at the end of the day, It's just a good guitar. Like I say, for less than the Gibson on the used market, or for less than the Epiphone on the used market, these are a solid contender. If you haven't ever played an SG, you definitely should. Am I a fan of the Les Paul over the SG? Absolutely. Am I saying that you should not look at one because they're not what you think of as Slash's guitar? Hey, guess what? Slash owns one. So, you know, pick your poison. At the end of the day, there's a lot of Gibson USA products that are out there that are the same price as the Epiphone. And while they may be used, that just means that if they're a little nicked, a little dinged up, or if they have something you don't like in the pickups, you don't feel like you have to baby them. You can take them out, change them. It's an inexpensive guitar. I'm not gonna say it's a cheap guitar. It's an inexpensive guitar, and they're fun to play, just like anything else. So anyway, there's your options that I know of in the Gibson lineup that are in that less than $1,000 range. Talk about it in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think is a better option for less money that's a USA made product. Got something that you think is in the Gibson lineup that I don't have? Let's talk about it. I want to hear. Till next time.